which was November the 4th, we talked about the introduction of who Daniel is, and we read on how the children of Israel was taken into captivity by Nebuchadnezzar, and Nebuchadnezzar took the best of the best of the best, the royalty out of the tribe of Yehuda, with Daniel, Mishael, Azariah, his 4 companions, and Hananiah. And how the Father's Spirit was with these brothers, and how the Father gave them wisdom, knowledge, and understanding to maneuver in captivity, to maneuver even in Babylon. And so just because we are defeated as a nation don't mean that the Father will abandon you in captivity. So this is a perfect example of us having favor with our enemy, even in captivity. So it will behoove all of us to serve the Father in spirit and in truth. And so we saw Nebuchadnezzar had a dream, and his requirement was that you tell him the dream and the interpretation. And none of the magicians and astrologers and the soothsayers and the stargazers was able to tell Nebuchadnezzar the dream and the interpretation, or he was going to kill them. So none of them was able except for Daniel. And Daniel interpreted the dream. We read the dream, and Nebuchadnezzar confessed after the dream, after the interpretation rather, that the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Daniel's God, whose name is Yahweh, is the King of Kings, and he is the Lord of Lords. He's the God of all gods, even over himself, because Nebuchadnezzar was a god on earth in that particular day, in his kingdom. And so we acknowledge that Yah is, and there is none else, even over the witches and warlocks of the world. And Nebuchadnezzar confessed that because he was the king of witches and warlocks. All right, so we're going to pick up where we left off last week, and we're going to go further, because a few years later Daniel had a dream and a vision, and it was very similar to Nebuchadnezzar's. And we learned that Nebuchadnezzar's dream was a dream of an image, right? Yes. And the image was a man, and it was different minerals, right? And it went from gold to silver to brass, iron to iron mixed with clay. And we learned that that image was in a chronological order. It was an arrangement of order from time. And we learned that the head of gold was during the era of Nebuchadnezzar's kingdom, and the arms of silver was during the time of Medo-Persia's kingdom, and the time of the brass is during the times of the Greeks, and the time of iron, which was the legs, we know that's the time of the Romans, and the iron mixed with clay, which is the feet, we know that's the time of the Romans and the rest of the world, because Rome is going to rule the whole entire world, and Rome is going to mix with the world and is going to enforce and impose its culture on the world. So Rome is making everybody to become Romans, culturally. So everybody in the world has some Roman influence. Everybody in the world is eating Americans' music or Rome. Everybody's eating pizza. You know, everybody has a political government system pattern after Rome. What I'm trying to say is Rome has a great big influence on the world, to the point where the scripture talks about the iron mixed with clay. It would be part strong and part weak, because iron does not mix with clay. It doesn't bond as easy. And we see that in the structure of the fourth beast. How many of y'all see buildings being put up And before they put the cement on the building, they build a iron structure.
Right.
And then they cover the iron with what? Cement. That's iron mixed with clay. Just like the porcelain sinks in your basement, some of your toilets and things of that nature is made with iron mixed with clay. You know, your L tracks is made of iron, but it's sitting on clay concrete,
Right.
the ground. And so all of that confirms of the era of time that we're living in, but it also shows a spiritual dynamic of where the nation and the world is at, far as how the Father feels about the world. The world is under this iron and clay spell. Iron is the strongest mineral out of the four, but it is the weakest at the same time. How is that possible? Have you ever seen the iron made of gold? I mean, a hammer made of gold? Have you ever used a hammer made of silver? Or a hammer made of brass? Hammer is made of steel, iron, right? Because it smashes things. But it don't have no value to it. They use a big iron ball to tear down buildings, don't they? The big wrecking ball,
Yeah.
that's made of iron. That's what the fourth beast is. A big giant wrecking ball made of iron, going around the world, conquering the world and colonizing the world and dropping its culture everywhere in the world. That's what Rome is doing. All right. And so we're going to pick this up at Daniel the 7th chapter. And we're going to get the Hebrew perspective of the dream. We got the world's perspective. Nebuchadnezzar represents the world. That is the beginning of the end of the age. All right? That image represents the Gentile reigns of the world. The Gentiles is going to run the world until that image is torn down by Yahushua. So from the head all the way to the feet is a chronological of time. And it started in the year, that image started in the year of (607) BC or BCE, before Common Era. So 607 is when the image began. And so that was that's when the hourglass was turned over. Y'all know what the hourglass is? So when the hourglass get empty, that's when Yahushua will return, and that's the end of the world or the end of the age. So we're counting down to Yahushua's second return, and he's going to strike the image. The image is the culture of the world, the beast and its trends. Everything that the carnal mind does is influenced by this beast. All right? From the pushing of homosexuality, from gang banging and murder and police brutality and wars, all of that is motivated by the beast.
Right.
All right?
Right.
That is the system of the world. All of this. And the world cannot live in this deprived state forever.
So,
It's got to come to an end.
so Moray, is Mark of the Beast considered the world?
The,
Or is it really a mark?
yeah, it's going to be a mark in your person saying that you have accepted the world.
Okay, I got you.
That's why the scriptures say, do not love the world nor the things of the world,
Right.
because the Father don't love the world.
Right.
He's not talking about the physical structure. He's talking about the system.
System. Right. Okay.
And so the mark is saying that you have accepted the system.
That's what okay, so it's not an actual mark.
It very well can be.
Okay.
And it has started. We have microchips,
Implants in our hand.
because the scriptures say without the mark, no man can buy or sell.
Yeah.
So that means you can't communicate in the world without that mark. And what is the most universal way of communicating?
Phone.
And what's another way? Buying and selling. How do you get a phone? You got to purchase it.
Yeah, right. Okay.
So wherever you go in the world,
right.
buying and selling exists. So that mark in your right hand of your forehead is going to be the mark that you receive to say that I have accepted the world and its system.
Okay.
And so those of us that's living in that day is going to have the opportunity to reject it. And that's going to be your acceptance or your rejecting of salvation for those that's alive in that particular day.
Right.
And so we're being set up for that. It's like last week I talked about in Saudi Arabia got the first citizen robot named Sophia. And so the Bible talks about how the image that speaks is going to cause all men, small and great, to receive a mark. It's the image that's going to cause all men to receive the mark. It's an image, the image that speaks. We see that these images beginning to speak. The image is simply something that was made with man's hand, like a man, that speaks. And we know that an android, a robot, is a robot that speaks. Now, they call phones androids. Phones are not necessarily no android, but they are preparing us for when the true androids show up. Well, what is an android? An android is a robot that thinks and speaks. So we got Shalom, Israel. What's the chick at home, Seth? What's her name? The thing y'all talk to? What's her name? Alexa or Alexi, right? And so another one is Google, right? And so this is all preparing us to accept the direction from the image that speaks. You can see prophecy leaping off the page. Now, real quick, keep your hand at Daniel chapter 7 and go to Revelation 13. I wanted to deal with this last week, but time didn't permit it. Look at Revelation chapter 13. See, the world makes it so that you can't function without these things. You got to learn how to function around these technologies, because the technologies is designed for you to take the mark. There is no forgiveness for taking the mark.
I didn't pull you off, did I?
No, because I wanted to go in last week.
Okay.
This is all included with the lesson. I'm going to skip around a little bit, but I want to read some of this. Look at verse, because I'm going to have to come back here. But look at verse 14. Revelation 13 and 14. And it says, and deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast. Let's go back. I might have to go back. Well, go back to verse 11. I'm going to soundbite some of this, and then I'm going to come back and go over this completely. Verse 11. And I beheld another beast coming out of the earth, and he had two horns like a lamb, and spoke as a dragon. And he exercised all the power of the first beast before him, and caused the earth and them that dwell therein to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed. Now, all of these beasts that we're reading about it in Revelation comes from the fourth beast that Nebuchadnezzar dreamed, or the fourth part of the image. What was the fourth beast? Iron mixed with clay, right?
Right.
And so in Revelation, these are beasts that comes from that fourth beast.
Okay.
All right. So these are elements and limbs. You know how you can have a leg and then another leg grow from that leg, or you can have a foot or a toe and a bunion and a bump grow from that toe. So these are things that come from something already exists, a limb. So these are beasts that comes from the beast. All right. But how many beasts are there originally? 4. There are 4 beasts. You're going to learn this in Daniel 7. But from the 4th beast, they're going to be miniature beasts. Y'all get me? They're going to be miniature beasts come from the 4th beast. But it's still the 4th beast. It's just different divisions of the 4th beast.
Right.
It's just like a father and his sons. It's all the same family, but they are an offspring from their father. So these miniature beasts are an offspring from the 4th beast. All right? So it says in 13, he goes and he do great wonders, so that he make fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of man. Now remember, the beast is twofold. It is a man and it is a nation, right? So the nation and the man does great things. It's not always an individual doing great things. He say he make fire come down from the heaven and on the earth in the sight of man. So a man could control a system like HAARP. HAARP controls the weather and make fire fall from the sky. Y'all see how that works? So when you see these prophecies, it's not just talking about a man doing them. It's talking about a man behind the system doing it. Because he could be using a machine or he could be doing it from his physical body. A man could have powers like a superhero, like on X-Men, or he could invent a machine to do it. Y'all get me? How did an android get here? A man built it.
Right.
But the man is responsible for what the android do, right? Because it was programmed how? By a man. All right? So I'm just trying to get you all to see this. Look at 14. He deceived them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles, which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth that they should make an image to the beast, which had the wound by a sword and did live. So an image was made of the beast, and had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. See that? So the image is going to kill everybody who don't worship the beast. And he caused all both, small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. He's not going to spring up and do this and surprise everybody. They're going to bring this out 20, 30 years prior to the image being introduced to you to soften you up. They brought out the cell phones, and then they bringing out the robots. They brought out the laptops and the computers just to get you familiar with it. Then when the actual image shows up, it ain't something out of a science fiction movie that you gonna reject. No, you've been groomed to receive this. Your parents who warned you about this is dead and gone because they lived in the Stone Ages. See, those of us from the 70s and 60s and before that, we couldn't see this. Now our kids is so full of technology that this ain't nothing to them. But to us, looking in the future, like, we ain't touching that. That's wicked. They like, well, we was born into this. This ain't no big deal to us. See what I'm saying? So I'm just getting you all to see that Technology is preparing you to receive the devil. It says, and no man might buy or sell except he had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. Here's wisdom. Let him that had understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man. The number is 666. So, when Daniel and Nebuchadnezzar saw this vision and this dream, let's just say this bottle is the image. Look up here, y'all. This is the image. The head of gold, the arm of silver, the belly of brass, the feet, the legs of iron, and the feet of iron mixed with clay. All right? So when the Messiah come, he gonna strike it at the foot, because that's what's gonna actually be alive at the time he coming. Everything above physically is dead, but its system is here.
Right.
So it's still alive in theory,
Right.
but physically the people is dead because it's by time. So you got Babylon, Medo-Persia, Greece, and then Rome. You have a combination of all those systems down in the last foot and the toes. So you got a gumbo of Babylon, Medo-Persia, Greece, and Rome. You got all of that sin and piled up, living during the time of iron mixed with clay. So the image gonna come back and destroy it. I mean, the Messiah gonna come back, and destroy it. So Daniel saw it from here on down when he was living. Nebuchadnezzar and Daniel saw it from here. We're reading the Revelation. John saw it from here on up, because John saw it from the end. Saw the same thing. Remember, Daniel, Nebuchadnezzar, and John saw the same thing, but Daniel and Nebuchadnezzar saw it from the head down. John saw it from the feet up. All right? Same prophecy. What you read in Revelation is the same thing that we read in Daniel. All right? So let's go back to Daniel, the 7th chapter. When you study this and you read this, the Spirit will bring more and more clarity and understanding. The Bible says that a prophet is unto John. So John the Baptist was the last of the prophets. But Shaul say that the fivefold ministry, pastors and teachers and apostles and prophets and evangelists, exist today. So what does that mean? Well, the office of a prophet to be inspired to write the book has ended. But the office of a prophet to interpret the book still goes on.
Right. Okay.
So that's what makes us a prophet today, is we can interpret what the earlier prophets written. Everybody can't interpret the scriptures accurately. How do I know? Because of Methodist, Episcopalian, Jehovah's Witness, Seventh-day Adventist, all of them have a different opinion based on the scriptures, because they see the Bible from a carnal perspective. They don't see what the author has written, what he saw. You got to see the same thing that the author sees. You got to see what Adam, you got to see what Moses, you got to see what Daniel and Isaiah, you got to see what Peter and Shaul and James, you got to see what they saw. It's the same Spirit that gave them the ability to write, is the same Spirit that give you the ability to see what they write. All right? It's the same Spirit. There's only two spirits in this world. That's the spirit of truth and the spirit of error. The spirit of truth comes from Yah. The spirit of error comes from the devil. All right? And just because people claim to be spiritual, don't mean they have the spirit of truth on them. The Bible and the word is true, and let every man be a liar. All right? So let's pick it up at Daniel 7:1. It says, in the first year of Belshazzar, king of Babylon. So we still in the head of gold, ain't we? But in the first year of Babylon, Belshazzar, because Nebuchadnezzar had passed away. But the system is still there. So you see that the beast is the kingdom and the king of the kingdom. Y'all see that? Remember what did Daniel tell Nebuchadnezzar? Oh, Nebuchadnezzar, you are the head of gold. All right? So in the first year of Belshazzar, king of Babylon, Daniel had a dream and a vision on his head upon his bed. Then he wrote the dream and told the sum of the matter. So you often learn that Daniel's dream is identical to Nebuchadnezzar's. But it's going to be from a perspective of a righteous Hebrew Israelite. Before whose perspective did we read the dream in? Nebuchadnezzar, who was the head of what? The Gentiles. So there was a Gentilic perspective. We don't think like Gentiles, do we? And we don't follow behind Gentiles, do we? Because Gentiles see different from us, don't they? They was trick-or-treating last week, wasn't they? We wasn't. Because they see things different from us. But we looking at the same thing. But we interpret it different because our spirits is different. All right? So put this down in your notes. In the year that Belshazzar took over Babylon was in 550 BCE. What was the year that Nebuchadnezzar took over? Anybody remember?
607.
Right. So time is going down, right? Time goes down to when the Messiah was born, which is 0. So it ain't going up like now, is it? Because we are what? AD, which is after his death. Anno Dominic, whatever that means. Latin for after the death of the Messiah. Time goes up. But BC, before Christ, or BCE, before Common Era, time went from 4,000 down to 0, right? So 550, so 607 minus 550 is what? 57 years. So this is 57 years later.
Okay. Also, he reigned, 57, Nebuchadnezzar reigned 57 years.
Yes. From 60, no, that's not right. 607, from 607 minus, yeah, 550, right? Yeah, 550. I thought it was 590. No, it was 550. So 57 years is when Daniel had his dream.
Oh, 57 years, okay.
Wait a minute. Something wrong with them numbers. Let me look something up real quick.
Okay. Because see, on the notes you got from 60, well, you have from 605 BC to 562.
605. Well, what I have 562 for?
I have King Nebuchadnezzar reign.
Right.
From 60, well, you had from 605 BC to 562.
Right, but there were other kings in between
Okay.
Belshazzar and Nebuchadnezzar.
Okay, I got you. Okay,
Yeah.
okay, I got you. Okay.
I'm just skipping to
To his time.
right.
Okay, I got
Right.
you. Okay. I thought it went from that to that. Okay.
Yeah, he reigned at 550. And so Nebuchadnezzar was in 605. So yeah, 57 years. And so just showing you the distance in between. Yeah, I'm just showing you the distance in between the two visions, the two dreams.
Okay.
And how the Father uses us and how we can be so impatient. These two visions were 57 years apart. Same subject though. So the Father can tell us something and we always looking for an instant response. 57 years to the Father is a burp. You know what I'm saying? He stretched. That's all he did.
Right.
But to us, it's a lifetime.
Yeah.
All right? Yeah, that's right. 57 years. How long we were supposed to be in Babylon in captivity? Anybody remember? How many years was promised?
400?
No, in Babylon.
Babylon.
Think about Jeremiah 25. It's almost 13 more years from now from what we're reading. What's 13 plus 57? 60? 13 plus 57?
Oh, no.
70, right? So the prophecy said we were supposed to be in captivity in Babylon for 70 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this was 57 out of the 70.
Oh, okay.
Because we went in at 607,
Right.
all right? And then in 550 BCE, Daniel had the vision, all right?
Okay.
And so Daniel spoke and said, I saw in my vision by night, and behold, 4 winds of heaven strove up on the great sea. So this dream has a lot of symbolism in it. You're going to learn what the great sea means. You're going to learn what the wind means. I'm going to tell you what it means, and then we're going to read the translation later, but for time's sake, I'm going to tell you. The wind means spirits. All right, the 4 winds. These are spirits that's come up on the 4 winds. And the great sea means kingdoms, groups of people. All right. So when spirit comes upon people, it is coming to influence the people to do something. All right. There's a spirit that is on America. There's a spirit that is on Germany. There's a spirit that is on Africa. There's a spirit that is on Russia. See how that works? Every group and nation has a spirit. So Daniel saw in his dream, this spirit came down on a great sea. That is an allegory, it's symbolic of something. And I'm giving you the interpretation, but I'm going to tell you why in the future. Why? I don't have time right now, but just trust me. The 4 great beasts came from the sea, different one from another. And so these 4 great beasts, I want you all, as we read this, Yaakov, as we read this, I want you to look at this flyer that I gave y'all, so you can go along with this, because this what he is dreaming. Nebuchadnezzar dreamed the image, right? Now look on the right. Look on the right where it says 4 kings. Y'all see that on the right? On the top of the page? Look at that where it's right to the right of Babylon. Y'all see that? All right. So as I read, go back and forth to this paper and go back and forth to the scriptures. Okay, it says in verse 4, the first was like a lion and had eagle's wings, and I beheld till, that means I saw it until the wings thereof were plucked, and it was lifted up from the earth and made to stand upon the feet as a man, and a man's heart was given to it. So the first beast that Daniel saw, that the wind hit the people, when the wind hit the people, the wind influenced a lion with wings. The lion represents a behavior. All right, and the wings represent the attributes of the behavior of the beast. All right, when we see animals, we see beast. This is what Daniel's seeing. He ain't seeing righteous men. He's seeing beast. All right, animals. Do we act like animals? No, we don't act like no animals. We are righteous men. All right. So he's seeing beast. Nebuchadnezzar saw an image of a man. He saw gold. look at the difference of what these brothers are seeing. All right, verse 5. So he saw it until its time was up. So he saw, verse 5, another beast, a second like a bear, and it raised up itself on one side, and it had 3 ribs in the mouth of it, between the teeth of it. And they said thus unto it, arise, devour much flesh. So this is a kingdom that this bear and the ribs in his mouth represent war. It's going to devour, it's going to have a big army, all right? Until its reign season is over. Look at verse 6. After this, I beheld, and lo, another like a leopard, which had upon the back of it 4 wings of a fowl or bird. The beast also had 4 heads, and dominion was given it. So a leopard with 4 heads. And after this, I saw in the night vision, and behold, a 4th beast, dreadful and terrible, and strong exceedingly, and it had great iron teeth. It devoured and brake in pieces, and stamped the residue with the feet of it, and it was different, diverse from all the beasts that were before it, and it had 10 horns. See that? So Nebuchadnezzar saw 4 pieces of metal: gold, silver, brass, iron mixed with clay, right? Daniel saw 4 beasts: a lion, right? Bear, a leopard, and the 4th one he couldn't even describe it. It was so terrible. It was so terrible that he couldn't even describe it. He just described what it do, its attributes. See, when you understand martial arts, that came from Africa and martial arts that came from China and Japan, a lot of the moves are named after animals.
Yeah.
The snake, the grasshopper,
the mantis and all that.
Right, the flying mantis, and
all that.
Right. Why is that? Because of their attributes, the powers and the things that they are able to do. And it's the same here. Daniel saw a spirit come, 4 spirits come down, and they came in chronological order. One spirit hit a group of people, a lion came up. Another spirit hit a group of people, and then a bear came up. Another one came, and then a leopard came. And then the last one came, a undescribable beast came up. But they all came in his own time, right? And we see that just like Nebuchadnezzar's dream, it got worse and worse and more fierce as the beast began to grow as time went on. They got worse and worse. So you're seeing the same vision, the same dream, but you're seeing it from a Hebraic perspective, and you're seeing it from the world perspective. Nebuchadnezzar saw something that was splendid, didn't he?
Right.
He saw something to be proud of.
Right.
Oh man, an image made of gold. I'm the gold.
Right.
But Daniel saw beasts. He didn't see no image, something to be proud of. He saw a beast. He saw a beast with iron teeth. Devoured, stomping, colonialism, dropping the flag, beating and murdering people, slaughtering millions of Indians. This is what Daniel saw. Enslaving the children of Israel. This is what Daniel saw this beast doing to the world. You go down into Australia and the original Aborigines of the land gone. All you see is Brits down there. Englishmen.
The Tasmanians.
Tasmanian, gone.
They gone. Their whole breed gone.
Whole breed gone. Who did it to them? The Brits, the Englishmen, the European, the 4th beast. All right, let me give you the identity of the 4 beasts. The lion is Nebuchadnezzar. That's Babylon. The bear is Medo-Persia. The leopard is Greece. The fourth beast is Rome. What era are we living in today? We're living in Rome. This is still Rome. We are still in the fourth beast. We still in the time of the birth of the Messiah. When the Messiah was born, it was in Rome. But according to the Bible, in the 66 books of the King James Bible, during the time of the prophets, what era did it leave off in? It left off in the time of Medo-Persia.
Oh, okay.
It skipped the Greeks. So where are the time of the Greeks found in?
The New Testament.
Nope. The books that was taken out. Which one did I tell you to bring today?
Oh, the Apocrypha.
The Apocrypha.
Oh,
The Maccabees.
right. So
That is the time of the Greeks.
so Titus was a Greek.
No.
He was Rome.
Yes.
Okay.
Vespasius Titus, father and son, were the first father and son Roman emperors. They ramshacked Jerusalem from 66 AD to 70 AD, which is after the death of the Messiah. They were Romans. That's what's during the Rome era,
Oh,
the
okay.
fourth beast.
Okay.
But the Greeks is in this book,
Okay.
the Maccabees,
Gotcha.
the Apocrypha. And we're going to get to that, and this is the motivation of them taking it out of the Bible. Because the Maccabees is going to teach us how to deal with the Romans. The Maccabees is going to teach us how to deal with the Romans. This shows us how they started turning all the images white. The Maccabees shows us how they first introduced to us Jesus. Greek. Anything end with S-U-S is a Greek name. Jesus, Zeus, all that came from the third beast, the leopard, with the four heads.
Right.
All of these were beasts, and we're still under the influence of the beast, ain't we? Because we still have Greek fraternities,
Yes, sir. Yeah.
and we still call on the name of Jesus. That's Greek. Eozus. That's how you say it in the Greek. All of that came from the Greek era. But what era are we in now that the prophecy came from? Look,
Still in gold.
in gold. And gold / what? Babylon.
Yeah.
See how that work? And so we're going to go through Medo-Persia. We're going to go through Greece and Rome. But the prophets come out of
Greek. No.
They come out of Medo-Persia time, and
Okay.
then it skips. Because during the time of the Greeks, the Bible translators took it out of the Bible. So you have 66 books in your modern King James Bible, right? And then in your regular 1611 James Bible, you got all 80. It's 14 books missing.
14. Oh, yeah.
14 books missing. So if King James was alive today, he would say, who authorized this? Because he authorized 80 books. So the conspiracy lived after James. That's the beast system. The beast didn't stop because James died. The beast going to keep going. James was part of the beast because he was the king of England. He was the king of France and Great Britain. Hey, some people say he was a brother. Some people say he was white. It don't matter. He still was the king of one of the beasts. And different beasts, were different from each other. Some of them was more wicked than others. He might have been one of the less wicked kings, but nevertheless, he was the king of the beast system. That you can't deny. Because there's nowhere in the scriptures where it say King James was holy. All King James did was translate the Bible, commissioned 70 men. He didn't do nothing. He was the king that was in charge. The Father pricked his heart, and he got the credit because he was in office at the time. So some people say he was a homosexual. Hey, some people say he was a good man under conspiracy and attack. It depends on who history you read. So all we know is that when we was going into captivity by the Englishmen, King James saw to it that we can get back to our God through the English language. So the Father used him to translate the word from Greek to Latin to from Latin to English. All right? And we know the Bible went from Hebrew, Old and New, Hebrew and Aramaic to Greek to Latin to English. So King James was very influenced to translate the Bible from the Latin Vulgate to the English. But he never did nothing himself. He was the king. He commissioned 70 translators. And because the translators, they had stole our identity during this time. So during the time of the Romans, by the time of the translators of the Bible, they got a mindset that this is their book. So when they translated it, they act as if they was translating their own history. The Father knew what he was doing. Because do you think our enemies is going to treat our history sacred?
Right.
No, they're not. And so it goes to show you that during the time of Nebuchadnezzar, he took all our precious temple ornaments and then he began to use them for his God. Belshazzar did that. And what happened to Belshazzar? This king we're reading about. Because of that, Daniel saw the prophecy, the handwriting on the wall, you finna die. Because he took the menorah, the shofar, the showbread, he took all our paraphernalia and he gave it to his God. And that was a no-no. So you think that the Englishmen would have took our stuff and preserved it while enslaving us? No. So we see what they meant for bad, y'all turned around for our good. See how that worked? Hey, shalom, you all that's online. You need to mute your phone, please. Getting feedback. And so we see that what the enemy meant for bad, y'all turned it around for good. So when they translated the Bible, they put their best foot forward. They made a lot of mistakes, but they did a great job because they actually thought they was doing it for themselves. They was enslaving us. The Gentile didn't ever think we was going to ever get back to who we used to be. Matter of fact, they did such a good job, all Jews don't know that we the people. Only the leaders know. All white folk don't know that we the children of Israel. Only selective few know. All of them is not ignorant, but all of them don't know. There are actually Jews who believe they the people. What does the Bible say in Jeremiah? It says that your fathers have deceived you. This is what the Bible says about Gentiles. So they in deception too. So this is why they translated the Bible and they was thinking, they had in mind that they were translating their own history. That's why they treated it with such care like they did. See what I'm saying? So we coming against the Bible, no, it's a blessing.
Yeah.
It was a blessing for the Jews to get a hold of Hebrew.
Well, that's why some of them feel that it was the white man's Bible.
Right.
They checked the history, but they didn't go back far enough.
Right. They checked the history, but they didn't go because they believe it's the white man Bible, just like the white man. Because the white man taught us that.
Right.
But y'all allowed that to happen because we had to go in captivity.
Right.
So while we in captivity, he preserved the word.
Mhm.
So when he began to bring us out of captivity, the solution, the way to get out of it is waiting on us. It's right here in the book. See what I'm saying? And so the Father is bringing us right back. See, y'all's ahead, 4-5 steps ahead of man. Man don't have a clue. But getting back to the text, we see that Daniel's dream is identical to Nebuchadnezzar, but he is giving it to us from a Hebraic perspective. All right? So let's pick it up in verse 8. He said, I considered the horns, and behold, there came up among them a little horn, before whom there were 3 of the first horns plucked up by the roots. And behold, in this horn were eyes like the eyes of a man, and the mouth speaking great things. So from this fourth beast, the fourth beast had what? 10 horns. So remember I told y'all in Revelation that the fourth beast had miniature beasts coming from it? That's what these horns are. Because it was going to be iron mixed with clay, so it was going to be more global. So remember, Medo-Persia is bigger than Babylon. Greece had more territory than Medo-Persia. Rome got more territory than Greece. So as we went down the line with the beast, it got bigger. So now the fourth beast got it mixed with the world because there are other races in the world. See what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So it had to mix with the other parts of the world to spread its venom. I even read and saw a program years ago that China was upset about the influence of Hollywood. China was saying, this had to be about 20 years ago. China was complaining of how much Hollywood was influencing its children. Hey, this beast is spread all around the world. And you can go in the back alleys of Africa and they rap it.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. That's the influence from this beast. Mm-hmm. Hey man, all around the world. Hey, this beast influences the world. Everybody patterning everything from America. That's why everybody and their mama trying to get here. Mm-hmm. Every nation and nationality has a representation here in America. All right. So go back to verse 7. I saw in the night vision, and behold, a fourth beast. So this fourth beast was dreadful and terrible and strong exceedingly, and it had iron teeth. It devoured and brake in pieces and stamped the residue, and it was different from all the beasts, and before it, and it had 10 horns. So the fourth beast had 10 horns, came from the fourth beast. All right. I considered the horns, and behold, there came up among them a little horn. This little horn, this prophecy is twofold. And it deals with the Antichrist of our day, and it deals with the Antichrist of the time of the Greeks. It is called the abomination of desolation. Mm-hmm. Spoken of by Daniel. This little horn is the abomination of desolation. But the abomination of desolation, you all, happened 3 times. And I know that from studying this from years. Okay? And the 3 different times is Antiochus Epiphanes, which was a Greek we're going to read about, which brought about Hanukkah. That's what we're leading up to. Right. We're leading up to Hanukkah. So Antiochus Epiphanes was this little horn that was during the time of the Greeks, which is the time of brass, the belly of brass, right? And also Titus Vespasius the father from 69 AD, Titus Vespasius the son to after his death from 66 AD to 70 AD, that little horn attacked us again. And the third time, it is the Antichrist that's coming in our day or in our children's day that is about to rise himself up now. All right? So that's what this little horn represents. It's a beast, which is one man, which is a king and his kingdom. You can't be a king without a kingdom. You can't be a kingdom without a king. See how that works? Mm-hmm. So this little horn, we're going to deal with the origin of this little horn, which is Antiochus Epiphanes, which comes out of the Greeks. All right? That's what we're going to deal with. That's who we fought. That's how Hanukkah came about, the Feast of the Winter. All right? We fought him and got our temple back. He took our temple, he desecrated it. He brought in Zeus, he brought in Jesus Christ, he brought in fraternities and sororities, and he brought in changing Moses to white. He brought in changing all of the prophets, Isaiah, to white men. This is what the Greeks brought into the temple when they took it from us. We took the temple back. And this is why we have Hanukkah. All right? And so as taking the temple back, we're still cleansing it today, because the temple is threefold. It is your mind, it's your body, and the physical building. That's why you don't see no white Jesus around here, because we cleansed the temple. You shouldn't have no white Jesus in your mind. All right? And you have to cleanse this. Pork, chitterlings. That's what chitlins is. It is dookie. You are eating shit. Chitterlings. That's what you're eating. That's not, when you say chitterlings, all the advertisers did was take the SH and change it to CH and made it markable. You're saying the same word. How can you say chitterlings and teach the Bible? You're saying chitterlings. They got you deceived thinking you're saying something different. Right. Chitterlings mean that which holds the shit. You're eating fried boiled dookie pouches. That's what you're eating. You can't clean it. You have to cleanse your temple.
Grandma never used to clean it though.
We got it from the Greeks. We got it from the scraps of the table of the slave masters.
That's right. That was what they threw away.
They threw away that. It started way back with the Greeks. They sold us first into slavery. And we still eating it today. I heard some people yesterday, at the doctor's office. It had the nerve to say I was over somebody's house and they was cooking chitlins. It was stinking so bad because they didn't clean them right. You can't clean it right. It is shit. You can't clean it. You can't. That's like somebody trying to clean up throw up. You go, rah, rah, and somebody just wiping it off and rinsing off and putting onions with what you threw up.
Oh.
Which one is worse, throw up or chitterlings? Chitterlings worse. You know why? Because all the nutrients been drained from the food. It's worse than throw up. The Bible says when a man backslides, he's going back to his vomit like a dog. What do you think chew the cud means? An animal that chew the cud. No, he's throwing up. He's got two stomachs. A camel, a cow that chew the cud, the food goes through different stomachs and it breaks down for their child. And they throw it up and the child eats it. Y'all ever see a bird feed a bird from its mouth? That's better than chitlins. But I ain't eating no throw up. Right. But you eat chitlins. Put onions and hot sauce on it. Yeah, man. And then he gonna say, when I make my pork chops, I smother them in vinegar. You can't clean that. So we're cleansing our temple. Hey man, we've been bewitched, by these beasts.
Yeah, it's a delicate testing in the black community, boy.
It is. But where do we get it from? The beast,
Yeah.
our slave master.
Yeah.
That's why it says it devour, it break into pieces, it stump the residue.
Mm.
There's a white man that has a website. I want y'all to go on his website. I'm sure y'all seen clips of his videos on Facebook. He blows the whistle. He blows the whistle. naturalhealthnews.com.
Okay.
His name is Michael something. And he always blowing the whistles and talking about conspiracies and how white people is killing us.
Natural Health News.
naturalhealthnews.com.
Mm.
He shows videos on vaccinations. He shows videos on abortions. You know how they target black people and how we're killing ourselves. It's a hit. It is a hit. He shows how diabetes is coming through the water. He showed how the water in Flint, Michigan. He ain't saying nothing no special to none of us. It's just coming from Master's child. So some of us are still slaves, and what Masters say matters.
Right.
So if you don't want to hear from a Hebrew Israelite, hear from a white man. And this is a white man who's talking about. I brought him up to tell you this. That is an example of how this beast, it only enslaves us, but it stumped the residue. I enslave you, I turn you into a black white man. We are black white people.
Yes, sir.
We eat like white people, we talk like white people, everything because we've been colonized and they force white styles. You have wear a natural hairstyle, they fire you on the job, or you can't get the job, you gotta perm your hair. So they make us to be clones like them to condition our minds. That's what stumping the residue means. They're not satisfied with enslaving you because Alexander would enslave us, but he'll let us stay Hebrews.
Right.
The Romans came to Israel and enslaved us, but we still were Hebrews. We had elders and we had Knesset and we practiced our religion. Not in Christianity. They beat the hell out of us and say, "What's your name, boy?" They made us go to church on Sundays.
Mm-hmm.
They made us call on the name of Jesus. And now we'll fight you tooth and nail over the name.
I can imagine the songs they were singing for real, man.
Hey, they made us worship Jesus. And we tell our mamas and grandmamas and granddaddies today that Jesus is coming from the world. Oh, no, shut up. I'll kill you, boy.
Yeah.
No, they make a statement like this. It'll be Jesus till I die.
Jesus till I die. That's a slave. That's a slave. It's a brother out south that's on YouTube. Y'all might have heard him. His name is Lowski. He make all these videos. Another one is named Zach TV. Check them out. They make all of these videos and they show gang banging and they show what's happening in Chicago. They interview all the drill music rappers. They go all up in Chief Keef and them old block neighborhood.
King Drive.
And they come all on the west side.
Yeah.
They even interviewed the little girl, Irene, that was with the little sister that died at the hotel, was murdered.
Okay.
So they even interviewed them.
Mm-hmm.
And so he got videos showing how to survive in the hood, how to survive in the county, drive up down the street, how not to let nobody pull on your side, and how to block off when you hustling, block the street off, don't let nobody in the alley and gangways. They show all this stuff, man, and got millions and millions of followers.
I'm sure.
So this is what I text the young man. I text him, I say, man, y'all ain't no savages. Y'all slaves. Because they call themselves savages. Are we savage? I said, you ain't no savage. You a slave. I said, the police is killing y'all left and right. You do nothing. You brag on killing another young black man and a black sister. oh, we catch you sisters hanging out there, we gonna kill y'all just like we gonna kill the niggas. This what they say on the videos. I say, man, y'all a bunch of cowards. The police kill y'all to get a pay raise and come right back on the street. What do you got to say about that? And what are you gonna do about the police killing y'all? See, you ain't no gangbanger, you ain't no killer till you kill the feds, cause that's your enemy. See, innocent young black men and sisters, they ain't your enemy, because a punk and a coward love a soft target.
Yep.
Yes, they do.
This is why folks shoot up churches,
Yep.
because folks is in the church worshiping God. They ain't got no guns and security. No, you want to kill up? Go kill the gangbangers.
Right.
Go shoot the police officers that got the guns. They're not going to do that because they're cowards, because they'll get that heat back. See, cowards kill people and they look for vulnerable and the weak.
I was just getting ready to say
They had a thing out south. I know they had the white out west old men.
Hey, give me a cup of hot cocoa.
Seek them out, knock them out.
Yeah.
They was doing that out south, man, just knocking old men out.
Old men, though.
Yeah, what is that?
Rob an old man
Knock 'em
that's
out.
watering his grass.
Yeah.
yeah.
But see, this is what the fourth beast taught black people. We a product of the fourth beast. Hey man, we didn't act like that in Africa. We didn't act like that in Israel. Hey man, we act like that, hey, since the 50s. Since the 50s to today, Jim Crow. Hey, that is a product, a nigger is a product of the fourth beast. Because it conditioned your mind.
That's what do just what do.
Yep.
That's what it is.
Yep.
So when you see that this beef stumped the residue, hey, that's where that comes